everyone. Somehow, they still allow us to do this.
Well, here's the thing. It's not on the radio.
That's why they don't know that it's happening.
This is one of those things that could be heard by tens of thousands of people broadcast across the entire Midwest here, but instead, it's heard by about 70 or 80 people heard on a podcast.
And you're being generous on that. I'm thinking maybe 20 to 30 people, and we appreciate you who tune in, and we hope you've been taking advantage of all the great discount codes we've given you over these so many episodes, the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast.
Because Doug Flutie needs a job after that one really amazing pass he did that one time.
And the Big Hurt, I don't know why he needs the money, but if there's never been a better nickname for a product that basically talks about your penis
That's right.
than the Big Hurt. So remember, go to Nugenics and just text HURT.
So we're sorry this show is so good. If it sucked a little more, we'd be back on the radio. Yeah.
So we'll try to maybe downgrade our... Now, you know what? We're going to just get better.
No,
we have no use for it. So we're going to debut with a new segment. I didn't know exactly what to name it. Okay. So this name is... We're going to workshop, but I give to you Deeply Disturbing or Deeply Bullshit.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I believe the story per se, but if it is true... The contents of said story are deeply disturbing.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. Dateline India, News 18, which is an Indian media television channel, reported on Saturday that a woman died, the bride of a wedding, died at the altar, okay? They said they gave the bride's name, and she was in the process of marrying this guy when she felt dizzy and then fainted. The doctors told her she had died. The doctor said she had died of a heart attack after she was rushed to a hospital nearby. Even as the family mourned the death of her, relatives proposed an alternative plan to ensure the wedding celebrations continued. So she's up there, vows are going, I feel faint. Boom, she falls. Hey, we paid for this place and we paid for this party.
We rented the Mumbai VFW hall.
So somebody is getting married. Right. We don't give a damn. Mm-hmm. So what they come up with, her body was reportedly kept in cold storage until the ceremony was over.
I should hope so.
And
that's what the catering crew is for.
They decided to marry off the younger sister instead.
Oh yeah, just throw in a replacement.
Yeah. So the family's like, she's dead. That sucks. We paid for all this. It was arranged. We're not going to look bad. Here comes the sister. Here you go.
Well, you just said the key word there. This was arranged.
Yes.
And so the guy was not going to leave without a bride.
Apparently so. They said even though the family was shocked by the death of their daughter, member of society convinced them to set an example and not send the bridegroom and his family home empty-handed.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry you lost your daughter, but tradition's tradition, and this guy's not going home. So deeply bullshit? Do you think this really happened? Or just deeply disturbing that it happened?
I think it certainly could have happened, I guess. I mean, I don't know all the mechanics of an arranged marriage.
Neither do I. I guess I shouldn't judge because it could be their ways and customs.
Yeah.
But it just...
No, it's okay to judge this one.
Yeah.
It's okay to judge this one.
Because it just seems like how just cold and calculating of like, yeah... Sorry, your daughter just died in front of everyone. Like, how do you then go and celebrate afterwards, right? You've just seen someone die in front of you.
Did the daughter who had the grabber, did she have to go over and tag her sister to have her come in?
I don't know if that was her last, dying words, like, you're next. Yeah. And, hits out as she's falling to the ground and tags her sister in.
Because I think if she didn't do that, then it's probably not legit. I think the ref would have called it.
And I understand arranged marriage. You don't really have much say in anything.
I don't.
But can you imagine if she was the hot daughter who kicked it, and then the other not as attractive daughter, he's like, oh, man.
Poor planning, though, on the parents of the daughter's part. Were they just waiting to see who the next suitor was? I mean, shouldn't you have this all... I thought with arranged marriages, you had this lined up like in preschool.
Correct. You would think so. I don't know how that works out. But yeah, no. Instead, they get to the situation. They get to the altar. Mm-hmm. She dies. Well, and I love how the family's mourning, but everybody else in the church goes, hey, I came here for a wedding.
Yeah.
I came here to celebrate. The worst thing you want to do is be that. You don't want to be that family who lets that bridegroom go home empty-handed. Better offer up something.
Did they play Celebration at the reception? Did they dance to that? Was there anything?
Can you imagine? They go from Sinatra's My Way, like the quintessential like funeral song, into Celebrate Good Times. Something along those lines of like Everybody Hurts by REM.
Is this the little girl I carried?
Everybody hurts. I got a feeling.
Right.
Tonight's gonna be a good night.
Everybody do the turtle. Oh, wait, she already did that.
Oh, hey.
What? No, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
wow. I would love to get some corroboration on this story because it is fascinating.
Send us an email or
I saw that headline going around. Didn't read all the details, but I don't know all the mechanics of an arranged marriage. This seems very plausible to me. It's already weird. Why wouldn't it be this weird?
It seems plausible, but that the families would still become intertwined. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you should have at least a day or two to mourn instead of like put her on cold storage. We're still going to have a party. She's not going anywhere. She's dead now.
There's warm mostaccioli sitting over there in the other room that everyone's waiting for.
The cousin Abdul has the vegetarian, and that's going to get cold. So there you go. I think still deeply disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
With a hint of maybe deeply bullshit, but I think it actually really happened. So speaking of deeply disturbing.
Correct. My theory, Mike, is that at some point, all of us will be in a porn in some form or another.
Yes, you've said that numerous times here on the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast, a.k.a. Sex and Poo podcast.
One of the biggest trends on the internet, certainly coming out of the pandemic, was this do-it-yourself porn industry.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans is one of them, and there's all these.
Well, there's other. Yeah, I'm sure there's other more kinky offshoots.
Well, I'm just saying, there's all these websites where you can just turn your webcam on and just go, and off you go. So it does seem as though at some point we will all, whether we want to or not.
We're going to end up in one.
There's probably going to be a law passed in Congress saying, next year on your taxes, you've got to claim your porn.
Right.
Or something like that.
If you have not presented your private parts to the internet, you do not get a full refund.
There is a trend on YouTube now of watching hot guys sleep.
Watching anyone sleep, whether in person or whatever, is always weird. Unless you're a parent and it's your baby and it's the first night at home or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But watching anyone sleep, have you ever caught someone watching you sleep?
Right, yeah.
And you
wake up and it's, how long have you been there?
Yeah.
Increasingly, half-naked guys from around the globe have been streaming their slumber for diehard fans who sift through the footage looking for nighttime erections.
Oh, God. It gets worse.
There it is. Oh, no, it's gone.
I saw it. Yep, there we go.
Some of these guys stream in boxer shorts with their penises visibly at attention.
What?
Others use YouTube's membership feature to allow fans to pay for streaming videos in skimpier undies and ass-bearing thongs.
Ooh. Weirdos. Can that possibly be comfortable, by the way, to sleep all night in a thong?
I don't think so.
No. They're not really sleeping.
It's probably more comfortable to be nude, and that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's. I would imagine. I don't even know if they're really sleeping.
So,
and how many of those guys are actually sleeping, and that is going off? Because in the middle of the night, that thing just has a mind of its own.
Oh yeah.
And you just kind of
to this day, I don't understand that.
No, you wake up, you go, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
there was nothing going on in there, and so how many guys are just. Basically, that's not real. They have something else down there to be like, well, there we go. Because they're just fake sleeping.
I don't know. It's become the natural evolution of live streaming to share the most mundane details of your day. In 2019, 22-year-old Michael Gary decided to stream an entire year of his life, including the XXX stuff like showering, having sex, and masturbating.
That's one thing no one wants to see.
But by March of 2020, sleep streaming was on the rise.
God, we're weird.
It was framed as a kind of get-rich-quick scheme, and articles highlighted the novelty of creators literally getting paid. Early on in the days of the internet, who the heck was that? There was a woman who had webcams all over her, or like security cameras all over her house,
It was the impetus for Ed TV, the movie, right?
Right, yeah.
It was like, wasn't that Matthew McConaughey's one of his first movies was Ed TV?
And basically it was, you just watched her through her day, which was 99.5% pretty
Mundane.
dull.
Yeah.
Then maybe at some point she took off a robe and then got into her pajamas or something. I don't know.
You're like, whoa, hey-oh.
And that made the whole thing worth it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's a bunch of people here. So if you go to YouTube and search
Dude sleeping?
male sleep stream,
At this moment, there's probably someone live streaming their nap right now.
you can watch a guy sleep
That's
in hopes that maybe he'll get a boner
That's so.
and maybe it'll poke out of his boxers.
Well, wouldn't that then be flagged by YouTube?
I don't know.
For their decency
I
standards?
don't know.
Okay. Let's just play this out for a moment, if you will. Okay? You go and end up in a relationship or on a date with someone, and somehow the YouTube history pops up
Right.
to where what would be worse? Okay, what would be worse, by the way? Catching someone watching actual porn or watching someone sleep hoping for a boner to appear.
I think I would
Wouldn't you
rather
rather
porn.
Yeah,
I think porn.
You'd rather walk in on someone watching porn than watching someone sleep hoping to watch the boner happen.
What are you doing in there? Shh, 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 shh.
Don't. Well, they can't hear you. I know, but I really like to get in this role play of I'm actually in the room watching him sleep.
And there's got to be long stretches of them just making awful snoring and snorking noises and probably farting once in a while. But this seems to be and I did just search on YouTube for male sleep stream, and sure enough, you got just guys just laying there.
God,
sleeping.
The internet's a weird place.
Yeah.
The fact that you have time in your life to watch someone else sleep, hoping for a boner to pop up.
Wouldn't it be good?
Are they lit, or is it like night vision?
They're dimly lit.
Okay, so they got like a nightlight kind of.
Something, yeah. I mean, with cameras now.
Yeah, that's true. Low light cameras.
If somebody came along and said, "Look, for 3 months, we're just going to shut the internet down, and everybody needs to go and mingle with people for a minute,"
I wouldn't be opposed.
Would you be okay with that?
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I would not be opposed to that at all.
I could get by for 3 months and not. It's like, okay, that's fine. I'll find something to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people would have a heart attack.
A lot of people would freak out.
People would have an Indian heart attack and have to marry their sister. That's what would happen.
Because they would just drop dead at their computer and be like, well, we can't let them go empty-handed. Someone's going to have to go sleep in that room.
All right. Vote Mike and Molson 2024.
Yes. 3 months, no social media. But if we didn't have any social media or the internet or anything like that, we wouldn't get a story like this. We have a couple of stories involving animals. We'll start with one. You talked about the boners popping up possibly in this. Here's a gentleman over in England. David Lee appeared at South Tyneside Magistrates Court on Friday, February 17th, charged with causing unnecessary suffering to a protected animal under the Animal Welfare Act of 2006. The bizarre offense is alleged to have taken place in Sunderland on Thursday, August 18th, 2022. Prosecutors told the court that Lee, 39, unreservedly did an act where he took a wild bird, forced it down, and placed his penis in its mouth.
What?
Whereby causing unnecessary suffering to that animal.
His penis probably suffered a little bit too.
The animal in question was a seagull.
Oh, so there's a little more room there.
Yeah, David Lee.
It's like a parakeet or something.
David Lee apparently grabbed a seagull, somehow was able to capture a seagull, and then decided, you know what would be pretty cool? If I just put my penis in the beak.
Right.
They said that intentionally killing or injuring a seagull is a criminal offense, and offenses against wildlife carry a penalty or a fine of up to $5,000 there, or even in some extreme cases, a jail term. I would say definite jail term for a guy who decides he's just going to shove his wangus in a seagull mouth.
Yeah, that's that's a uniquely male thing.
Yes.
Of just seeing, hey, I wonder if it would fit in there. Because how many doctors' emergency room things we've had? It's like, okay, okay, fine.
Right.
You did the thing with the vacuum cleaner. Okay,
or the weird ones that sometimes where they have like the bolts or something like not the bolts, the no pun intended, but like they put the nuts on there
Sure.
to kind of keep the blood in there. They're like, can't get that.
Right.
It's stuck. Sorry, gonna have to use a saw down there.
Yeah. So there's this strange desire to just go, I wonder if it'll fit. And I guess apparently he was walking by a seagull and had that thought.
How drunk did he have to be? To go?
I hope a lot, because my guess is the seagull either thought, oh, hey, cool, a fish.
Oh, hey, look, it's a sardine.
Right. It was bouncing it around in its big globby neck.
Well, remember when we had that story when we were on the radio about the hawk or something that dove down because of the bulge in the guy's he was stunning himself.
The guy had put tanning lotion on his dingus so it didn't burn. He was sunbathing nude.
Yeah.
And a hawk flew over and thought it was turtle eggs.
Right, that's right. And went thump and grabbed
Lunchtime. And if the seagull said that, I wouldn't blame the seagull.
No, but this guy needs to go away for a long time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Doing it on purpose. But if the seagull's like mine, and he thought it was, a minnow and clamped down.
I wouldn't blame him at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
There's a woman in New Jersey who was living in a house, renting a house. And I guess, according to the mayor of this town, she had constructed a cat house to care for wayward cats or something like that.
Okay, one of the cat ladies.
Apparently so. The woman apparently worked as a pet sitter, and but was failing to pay her rent.
We can't do that. I know you're a cat hotel, but you still got to pay the rent.
And so officials showed up and said, you have been evicted. You and your cats need to get the hell out of here. She slammed the door and said, over my dead body, literally, I will blow this house up.
Not a good thing to say.
So there's a police standoff. She apparently opened up the gas, the stove, and wherever gas comes out in the house.
No, please tell me.
And starts filling up the house with gas, and sure enough, at about 11 o'clock in the morning, kablooey, the house goes up, woman's dead. It says dozens, plural, of cats perished.
Oh.
So over 24.
Yeah, dozens of cats. Man, those poor cats. They didn't sign up for that, did they?
No. But if I can't have you, nobody can, is how she went out. Neighbors who gathered to watch the aftermath said that the woman's boyfriend had been trying to evict her from the house for several years. That effort was stopped temporarily.
I'm assuming ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
If you're trying to...
He is now.
Yeah, now he's got to go find a different... Her sister available? The crazy cat sister?
But the governor... stopped the eviction during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So back in August of last year, that expired. And they finally said, okay, you've got to get out.
She's like, no, I'm doing the Lord's work with these cats.
The house was attached to another house owned by Emma Quackenbush, who said...
That's what the seagull said.
Said she lived in a second house attached to the house for 22 years. She lost everything in the
poor
fire.
Quackenbush.
It's still standing there, but it's not livable. Everything is gone. New Jersey Natural Gas shut off the gas while firefighters from several surrounding towns extinguished the flames. They got the fire under control.
You're never going to believe what happened. The crazy lady lit the cats on fire, and Quackenbush got burnt too.
I don't know if there's a GoFundMe for Emma Quackenbush. You might want to search that out. Give her a hand, because she really didn't deserve that. She was just minding her own business.
The cats didn't deserve it either.
Crazy woman blew up her house.
Yeah, it is the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast. Mm-hmm. We end with a couple of Am I the A-holes? And this first one involves boobs, because sex and poo.
Sex and poo, that's all we talk about here.
So it starts.
Exploding cats.
Exploded cats and shoving dangs in seagull beaks. So it starts out, hey guys, for the last few years, I, 36-year-old female, have been taking dance classes at the local community center. Go there after work, usually arrive about 15 minutes before the class starts, change there. Small center, there are only 2 changing rooms, one for men, one for women. Lots of different types of classes at the center, yada, yada, yada. She's taking belly dance classes. The clothes we wear are not your typical gym clothes, but more suitable for the kind of dance, skirts, crop tops, whatever. But it's still a sport, so I wear a sports bra underneath whatever's going on. She goes, yesterday I arrived a little bit earlier than most times and found the changing room empty. When I was putting on my sports bra, the straps got tangled in my hair, and I was struggling to put it on correctly. So she's just sitting there going, son of a... She goes, and just as I was panicking, I heard a voice yell, boobies! I turned around and saw this little boy about 5 staring. I quickly covered my chest with the first thing I could find. It just happened to be a belly dance scarf, so it's like all shiny and everything else.
Made it worse.
Then I just stepped aside and managed to put on the damn sports bra. I was about to forget this whole thing when a woman about my age next to me started scolding me. At first, I didn't understand what she was saying, but then I heard, "Why are you exposing yourself to my boy?"
Wow.
And once again, I panicked as I thought I was in the men's room. So she's like, oh, crap, did I go in the wrong changing room?
Right.
But I looked around, and there were other women there. In fact, the little boy was the only non-female in the locker room.
This sounds like a classic Midwesterner who was assuming that they were wrong the whole time.
Correct.
Okay.
Like, she's just struggling with, and all of a sudden you hear boobies, and she flips out,
Right.
Rightfully so. If you're not assuming that and you hear that, you're going to flip out. I learned later on that a new class was taking place at the center, something like Mommy and Me dance lessons, so there were children with their mothers. I politely explained to the mother that this was the women's locker room, and I was just changing, not deliberately exposing my boobs to small children. But she heard none of it and yelled at me for being immoral.
Wow.
And that the boy is going to be traumatized, and that from now on I have to go change in the bathroom. I tried ignoring her, put on the rest of my clothes, and tried escaping, but then she took issue with my dance clothes and called me a few choice words not suitable for children's ears.
Wow.
I told her again that this was the ladies' room and she has to expect to see boobs there, that if there was a problem, she should go somewhere else. Then I finally managed to escape. As class starts, I talked to a few of the women taking the class, told them what happened. I expected sympathy, but they told me when they saw the children at the locker room, they went and changed in the bathroom, and that since I don't have kids, I don't understand, and I was in the wrong.
It doesn't sound like she knew there were kids in the locker room.
And now I don't know, was I wrong? Like, seriously, am I supposed to go change in a bathroom from now on? Am I the a-hole in this particular situation?
I mean, if you're a parent with little kids, I get you got to bring them with you and maybe come into the locker room and everything. But you should probably say, hey, by the way, little boy here, and alert somebody, because I don't think anyone would intentionally do that. By the way, this kid is not scarred. This kid is jonesing for boobies. Because he clearly said it. He knows what they are the minute he sees them.
You aren't traumatized. You go, boobies!
Yeah.
Like, that's not a traumatic experience for him.
That's a little a little wise for his years.
Yes.
But that's a kid that's going to grow up looking for boobs.
He's traumatized if he sees grandma or mom's boobs, but just a random stranger. I don't think this lady's an a-hole at all.
No.
I feel like making her have to go to the bathroom, which is not set up to be a changing room. And what's to say if that woman is bringing that child into the locker room, which is supposed, and I understand, to your point, smaller kids can't be left alone, whatever, you're a single parent, you're doing, that's fine. But that means also if that kid had to go to the bathroom, more than likely he's coming in there. So what's to say if you make her go change in the bathroom, that same thing's not going to happen? Because I don't know any of us who would prefer to change in a bathroom stall, where there's nothing to like hang.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, so it's all a mess.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like that kid is going to grow up healthy.
Yes.
Just enjoying boobs, which we all do. Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. I think we all
it's
agree on that.
It's not. It doesn't say in there, but I mean, if she was aware that there were kids around,
right? It's not like she was like, "Hey, kid," like she didn't know. She just walked in, didn't see anybody in there, starts changing. Right. Sports bra gets
Mardi
caught.
Gras. Yeah.
If she was that much into showing the kid the boobs, when the kid yelled boobies, she'd be like, hey, you like them? And
you bet they're boobies.
Yeah, exactly. Shaking them around. But she dove and covered like she was in the line of fire with Clint Eastwood, like, no, protecting the president. So she's not the a-hole there.
This is an interesting question. And the question at face value, I think you have an immediate answer. But there are details that we need to address, because this person says, am I the a-hole for wearing a wedding dress at a wedding?
I would normally jump to conclusion and say yes, but after our first story, no, you never know if you're going to be the bride on deck.
You never know. So here's the way this plays out.
Okay,
the person writing this letter is a 19-year-old guy.
Okay.
He gets a message from a friend of his saying, a female friend saying, "Hey, I'm engaged. We're gonna have a big engagement party, and it's a costume themed party.
Okay.
Why don't you come?" And he says, "Was there a theme to this party?" "Nope, just wear a costume." "Okay."
So he's told it's an engagement party.
Correct.
Okay.
So he dresses up as the corpse bride.
Oh, yeah, from Tim Burton.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And shows up, and he's there for about 10 minutes, and then the girl's fiance walks out wearing a tuxedo and says, "Guess what, everybody? This isn't the engagement party. This is the wedding."
Oh, a surprise wedding?
Yes. And here's this guy in a wedding dress.
Right.
Dressed up as the corpse bride. And he goes to the groom and says, "Hey, should I go home and change? I'm wearing a wedding dress."
Right, yeah, this is going to be kind of weird.
And I said, "I just live down the street. I can change. I'll be back before it starts." He said, "Nah, you're fine. You're fine." So everybody goes outside. They get married. But the bride isn't speaking to this guy. She is just something's going on.
Staring daggers at this poor dude.
So he gets home, about a half hour pass, and suddenly phone notifications. Bing, 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 bing. And it's the bride cussing him out, saying, "You ruined my wedding."
But you didn't tell me it was your wedding.
She told me it was basic knowledge not to wear a wedding dress to a wedding. I reminded her I had no idea it was a wedding.
It was an engagement party.
And asked her now husband if I should change, and he said it was fine.
Oh, God, now he's going to be in trouble.
She didn't respond, but now the husband responds.
And he's mad.
Why would I tell her that I said it was fine? I told him he did say it was fine, and then he said I should have changed anyway, and it's my fault that now this newly married couple are fighting over this.
Are they talk about expecting someone to read minds? First of all, you say surprise. First of all, you say a themed engagement party, and then you say surprise wedding. This guy then goes, "Hey, I'm a little dressed weird for this whole thing," right? Which, by the way, costume engagement party is odd, but okay, whatever you want to do, that's your thing.
Costume engagement party, I'll accept. Little odd, you're right, but surprise wedding isn't really fair to anybody.
No, it's not. And then all of a sudden, then the guy has the wherewithal to go, "Well, this is going to be awkward. I'm going to ask this guy," and the groom's like, "You're fine. You don't want to miss the wedding." And then all of a sudden, he goes, "Well, just because I said it's fine, you should have known better to go change."
And he even says, "I cosplayed Emily from The Corpse Bride. I had blue paint all over me." He also says, "I'm Australian and never heard of a costume party, meaning fancy. Everyone is dressed up in funny costumes."
Yeah, no, when I hear costume party, I don't think
everybody had costumes on, so it wasn't
right, yeah,
like
exactly. It wasn't like the dress-up thing.
But this poor guy, I think got taken for a ride here.
Yeah, now that I know the context, when you just see the beginning, to your point of, am I the a-hole for wearing a wedding dress at a wedding, you immediately go, yeah, you're a total dickbag. But when you hear the context of it all, you go, he has a gripe. I don't think it's a problem.
And doesn't this kind of lend itself to say, you know what? Whenever you're doing something that's traditional, an engagement party, a wedding, or something, keep it between the lines.
Yes, yeah.
Because everybody has a picture in their mind of what that is. Yes. And you can't have something that's a little bit, it's going to be an engagement party, but it's a costume party. It's going to be an engagement party, but it's a surprise wedding. You start coloring outside the lines, things will go wrong.
Yeah, you got to stay in the wheelhouse.
And I'm not trying to be an old man here and say always be traditionalist. But you're asking for trouble.
No, I mean, you can do something along those lines of a surprise birthday party, right? But you can't go engagement party to surprise what? Like, you can't have surprise wedding.
I don't think so.
Like surprise wedding is a little outside the norm, right?
It says the groom saw this on a video and wanted to replicate it. So he was probably doing it for the clicks.
Oh, God.
Surprise wedding.
The influencers, like, check it out. Look at this.
But now you've got a husband and wife screaming at each other, a friendship that's broken up over the whole thing. It's like, was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah?
Which one would you rather have gone to? The way this went down with engagement party into surprise wedding, or dead wedding that ended up being surprise wedding?
No.
Which one's less awkward?
I'm taking the third option, and I'm going over next door to Emma Quackenbush, and I'm blowing myself up because I don't want to deal with any of those people.
I'm taking the fourth option. I'm serving as jury on penis in seagull beak.
Right.
So, yes. The world is weird.
Yep.
And we are here to talk about it.
Least we could do for you. Really,
Yes.
it was the least.
Very least, which is why it's too good for the radio. It's Mike and Molson. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week. And remember, Doug Flutie needs your money, so text Flutie or Skin Flute
Oh, you said skin flutes. Come on.
for your new Gen X bottle.